Another patch means another tier list. Now, patch 6.02 and 6.03 provided few but big agent changes, and they gave us some big bug fixes. With these new patches, we now have a potential meta shift leading to a new list. Plus, since our last list, agent pick rates have definitely been changing, and for good reason. So if there's one thing Riot loves to throw at us, it's new metas. That means today we're going to talk about the agents you should be locking, avoiding, and what may be coming up in future patches. So let's get started. But just know that in order to keep up with the meta, you need more than just a tier list. Knowing the ins and outs of the strongest agents, how to play the newest maps, and ways to abuse the strongest abilities all factor into how you should be playing the game. But that's where we come in at SkillCapped. All of our content is fine-tuned to whatever meta Riot throws at us. As a matter of fact, our website subscribers gain access to all of our content, including our new Ask a Pro Discord channel, where you can ask our Radiant coaches anything Valorant related. This is the best way to keep up with a constantly shifting meta. So quit wasting time and check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. Starting in S tier, these two agents are here because you could run them on any map and they're probably the best picks in their role. At the top of the list is Killjoy. I told you guys that her lockdown is getting nerfed to 8 ultimate orbs, and it was only a matter of time. In patch 5.12, Riot talked about how they want to increase the cost of site-wide ultimates, and I don't know about you, but this ability fits the bill. Regardless of her ultimate, Killjoy's kit is extremely flexible. Her range restriction isn't even that much of an issue. As a matter of fact, she can keep watch on about 2/3 of most maps with the right setup. And sure, her turret got nerfed by 25 HP, but that isn't that big of a deal. Now with good combo potential with other agents, a round-winning ultimate, and map control capabilities, Killjoy deserves this #1 spot on this list. Next on our S tier is Jett. I mean, what can I say? She's been at the top of our list for ages now, and I don't think she's going anywhere. She, just like Killjoy, is way too flexible not to run on every map. She can make plays for herself, entry for her team on executes and retakes, and is currently the strongest op-abusing agent. While yes, she is in the S tier, at least she isn't as oppressive as she was in the past and has counterplay. Now our A tier is going to be a bit longer than our S tier, and it's topped off with Omen. Omen, just like Jett and Killjoy, can be run on every map. The only issue with him is that he isn't arguably the best on every map, these being Icebox and Lotus. His ultimate isn't that bad, and his Shrouded Step allows you to make some ridiculous solo plays. He could even op if he wanted. His Paranoia still stands as the strongest ability in the game, and with the potential to have up to 5 or so smokes around, there isn't much reason not to pick Omen on every map. Next in A tier is Raze. Just like our other high-tiered agents, Raze is extremely flexible. With the most recent patch, her Boombot got nerfed pretty heavy. This is a big change as she can't default nearly as well in certain parts of each map, but her kit is still very strong. She can entry, has good stopping power, can default still sorta, and despite what people think, her ultimate is a force to be reckoned with. There aren't many flaws in her kit, and she could even op if you wanted. Sage takes the next spot in our A tier. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm listing these agents based on how flexible their kits are. And Sage can be played on every map. Her slows and walls offer great stopping power, and her wall can be used in so many different ways. Her presence alone slows down the flow of the game. No other agent does this as well. With her heal also being recently buffed, she's a solid pick on any map. Now the next 4 spots in our A tier may surprise you. We have Sova, Kayo, Skye, and Breach, and yeah, they're all initiators. Riot has done a really good job at balancing out this role, and I feel like you could run any of them on any map and it doesn't feel troll. Sova obviously has been really strong in every map besides a few. Kayo could literally be picked on every map, plus his knife got fixed. Skye's Trailblazer is now the best drone in the game, and with cooperative teammates, a good Breach could single-handedly win games. Each of these initiators has game-changing ultimates as well. Depending on the map you're playing and the rest of your team comp, each of these initiators is a strong pick. Moving on to the B tier, we have Astra. The only issue I have with Astra is that she requires a bit of communication to get the same amount of value that you would get from Omen. If your teammates aren't telling you when they need your gravity well or smokes, Astra is basically as range restricted as Brimstone is. But with her ability to recall her stars, play mind games, and her really strong ultimate, Astra can be a really good pick. Now, as a Cypher main, I wanted to put him in the A tier, but I didn't let my bias get the best of me. The only issue I have with him is that you really need to play him based on what the enemy team comp is. You need to play around Raze's kit, Skye's dogs, Sova's shocks, Fade's prowlers, and a ton of other abilities in the game. A good Cypher main can make people pull their hair out, but it's not easy to do. In order for Cypher to be a staple in any comp, you need to understand both the strengths and weaknesses of the enemy team and play to them. The next 2 agents in our B tier are Brimstone and Viper. Now, you might be asking, how is Viper in the B tier? In every other tier list, she's in the S tier. Well, the issue is that her 2 strongest maps in Bind and Breeze are out of the rotation. The only map where she's the meta pick on is Icebox, and Brimstone also suffers from the same issue. His best map was Bind, and now his only meta pick is Fracture. Sure, you could run Viper on any map, but you'll need a second controller, otherwise you'll struggle. And Brimstone just isn't near nearly as strong as the other controllers. These two agents aren't great on every map, but on the maps where they are, both of them are irreplaceable. Now the next duo on our list are Neon and Yoru. Neon suffers from the same issues that Brimstone and Viper struggle with. She's not a bad agent by any means, but why would you pick her while Raze and Jett exist? The other two offer better explosive power, ultimates, and can abuse the verticality offered in some maps. Neon's relay boots are really strong to fight with, but with Raze and Jett existing, I don't see much of a reason to play Neon. And Yoru, in my opinion, has the highest skill ceiling in the game. My issue with him is that his floor is really low as well. His kit in theory is really strong, but in practice, they're weak. But I believe if you put in the time to master this agent, he has the potential to be the best in the game. Now, the agent I have topping at our C tier might take a lot of you by surprise, but I think Fade has dropped off a lot. Her prowlers just don't feel impactful anymore. They're made out of paper mache and feel like worse Raze's Boombot. Her haunt is also incredibly easy to shoot. This makes her seize her only true strong ability. In my opinion, I think Fade's prowlers need a small buff or turn her ultimate back to 7 orbs. She just needs a bit of fine tuning before she finds her way back into the meta. Next on our C tier list, we have Harbor. Well, he isn't on the bottom of the barrel anymore. With the release of Lotus, this map feels like Harbor's home. He's the only controller that can effectively smoke off multiple parts of the map on defense. From A-Link, he can smoke off all of A, B, C, Mound, or anything his team needs. His Cascade is great at scaling up A main or B main, and his ultimate is extremely underrated. It gives you a ton of information and allows you to run it down with confidence. The only reason he's in the C tier is that he sucks really bad on every other map, but on Lotus, he's A tier. Now, next, we have Phoenix. To me, he just seems like a great value Kayo. His flashes are great, and his ultimate, I feel, has started to feel overrated. As long as you fight it with confidence, he's just a guy running it down at you. If you pick him on maps where ultimate orbs are pretty easy to grab, I could see him being a decent pick, but I just don't see the point in picking him. Next, let's talk about Chamber. While his nerfs did hit him pretty hard, I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. The only issue with him right now is that Killjoy is just so strong. I don't see a reason to play Chamber when she is this strong. I think if Riot removes the range restriction on his trademark, he'll be in a perfect spot. But if you're creative enough with Chamber's kit, he can feel like his old self. Don't get me wrong, he still has a free op, a pocket guardian, and an instant get out of jail free card that feels like a second life. So despite Killjoy seeing a small nerf, Chamber is still going to stay down in the C tier. And then, I just hate Reyna. Her leers are really strong at scaling sites. This makes Icebox her strongest map, but past that, I don't see a reason to run her. Plus, every Reyna main that I've ever met is just toxic, mean, and has a huge ego. Reyna's kit is extremely selfish, and her ultimate is a joke. Whenever she has her ultimate online, I always love saying, oh, we have Reyna ult, how do we want to play around that? Reyna's kit is just extremely weak, and if you don't hit your shots, she's just extremely useless. Now, patch 6.02 and 6.03 were small ones, but what they did was provide a much needed meta change. But keep in mind that despite whatever letter you see your favorite agent next to, that it doesn't really matter. Just because your agent is theoretically bad or good, that doesn't mean you should or shouldn't play them. Riot does a good job at balancing their agent pool, but if they make any drastic changes, know that we'll be the first to adapt our list. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. Now, like I mentioned, Riot has constantly been throwing new metas at us. For some people, it's hard to keep up, but with a subscription to our site, you gain access to hundreds of hours of Radiant produced educational content, which will help you keep up. This also includes access to our Ask a Pro channel on our Discord, access to our library of coaching sessions where we have helped players that have had similar problems as you, and so much more. No other service can offer you this much value, I promise. Now head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started on your way to the rank you deserve. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. We here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.